Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the labyrinth of time, unearthing the hidden treasures of our collective past. Today, we find ourselves at the threshold of a most fascinating era, one that shook the very foundations of societal norms and cultural values, the counterculture movement. As we delve into this captivating tale, let us first set the stage with a brief overview of this phenomenon. The counterculture movement was a complex and multifaceted entity born out of the tumultuous 1960s, when the convergence of social, political, and cultural currents created a perfect storm that would propel the counterculture into the forefront of American society. As we explore the historical context of the counterculture movement's emergence, it becomes clear that the seeds of dissent were sown in the early 1960s. The Civil Rights March on Washington in 1963, where Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech, marked a pivotal moment in the struggle for racial equality and social justice. This event, coupled with the growing unrest over the Vietnam War, created an atmosphere of discontent and disillusionment among young Americans. In the midst of this turmoil, a group of visionary artists, writers, and musicians began to coalesce in the vibrant city of San Francisco. The North Beach neighborhood, with its charming cafes and bookstores, became a hub for creative expression and intellectual curiosity. It was here that the likes of Lawrence Ferlinghetti, founder of City Lights Bookstore, and Kenneth Rexroth, a poet and essayist, helped to foster a cultural climate that was receptive to new ideas and experiences. The Beat Generation, a literary movement that emerged in the 1950s, played a significant role in laying the groundwork for the counterculture movement. Writers like Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac, and William S.S. Burroughs, with their emphasis on spontaneity, nonconformity, and spiritual exploration, inspired a generation of young artists to push the boundaries of creative expression. The iconic novel On the Road, published in 1957, became a clarion call for those seeking adventure, freedom, and authenticity. As we delve deeper into the earliest history of the counterculture movement, we find ourselves in the midst of a vibrant, dynamic scene where artists, musicians, and writers were coming together to challenge the status quo. The likes of John Coltrane, Miles Davis, and Thelonious Monk, with their experimental approach to music, inspired a generation of young musicians to explore new sounds and styles. The emergence of psychedelic culture, with its emphasis on altered states of consciousness and expanded perception, was another key factor in the development of the counterculture. The influence of Eastern spirituality, particularly Buddhism and Zen, also played a significant role in shaping the countercultural ethos. The Beat's fascination with these philosophies, which emphasized individualism, nonconformity, and spiritual exploration, helped to create a cultural climate that was receptive to new ideas and experiences. The iconic poet Allen Ginsberg, who had traveled extensively in India and studied Eastern spirituality, became a key figure in promoting these ideas within the counterculture. In the summer of 1965, the first hippie commune, the Diggers Free Store, was established in San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury neighborhood. This communal experiment, which emphasized free expression, cooperation, and mutual support, became a model for the many communes that would spring up across the United States in the following years. The stage is set for a tumultuous decade, one that will witness the rise of iconic figures like Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin, the explosion of psychedelic art and music, and the transformation of American culture. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, where we continue our journey through the labyrinth of time, exploring the fascinating tale of the counterculture movement. We now find ourselves in the midst of the 1960s, a time of unbridled creativity, experimentation, and social upheaval. The Haight-Ashbury neighborhood in San Francisco had become the epicenter of the counterculture, with its colorful Victorian homes, psychedelic shops, and vibrant music scene. It was here that the likes of Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and the Grateful Dead would perform at iconic venues like the Fillmore Auditorium and the Avalon Ballroom. The Summer of Love, which took place in 1967, marked a pivotal moment in the counterculture's history. Thousands of young people from across the United States converged on Haight-Ashbury, drawn by the promise of free love, music, and spiritual exploration. The Diggers, a radical activist group, played a key role in organizing the summer's events, which included free concerts, poetry readings, and communal meals. The counterculture's emphasis on nonconformity and individualism was reflected in its fashion, with bell-bottom jeans, tie-dye shirts, and long hair becoming symbols of the movement. The psychedelic poster art of designers like Peter Max and Alton Kelly also became a hallmark of the era, with its vibrant colors and surreal imagery. As the counterculture grew in influence, it began to attract attention from mainstream America. The media, particularly television and newspapers, played a significant role in shaping public perception of the movement. While some outlets portrayed the counterculture as a threat to traditional values, others saw it as a symbol of youthful rebellion and creativity. The counterculture's impact on music was also profound. The likes of Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, and Crosby, Stills, and Nash became icons of the folk rock movement, using their music to express social commentary and critique the status quo. The development of psychedelic rock, led by bands like Pink Floyd and Jefferson Airplane, further pushed the boundaries of musical experimentation. The counterculture's emphasis on communal living and cooperative economics also led to the establishment of communes across the United States. These communal experiments, which ranged from rural farms to urban apartments, aimed to create alternative forms of social organization and challenge traditional notions of property and ownership. As we explore this pivotal moment in American history, it becomes clear that the counterculture movement was more than just a fleeting phenomenon. It was a profound cultural shift that would have lasting impacts on our society. The movement's emphasis on individualism, nonconformity, and social justice continues to influence contemporary culture, from music and art to politics and activism. The stage is set for a tumultuous few years marked by protests, riots, and social unrest. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, where we continue our journey through the labyrinth of time, exploring the fascinating tale of the counterculture movement. The late 1960s and early 1970s were a time of great upheaval, as the counterculture's ideas and ideals clashed with mainstream America. The movement's emphasis on nonconformity and individualism led to increased tensions between young people and authority figures, culminating in events like the 1968 Democratic National Convention protests in Chicago and the 1970 Kent State shootings. One of the key factors that contributed to the counterculture's decline was the increasing commercialization of its ideals. As the movement gained popularity, mainstream culture began to co-opt its symbols and imagery, watering down its radical message and reducing it to a mere fashion statement. The rise of disco and punk rock in the mid to late 1970s further marked a shift away from the counterculture's folk rock roots and towards more commercial and nihilistic forms of music. Despite this decline, the counterculture's legacy continued to shape American society. The movement's emphasis on social justice and activism led to significant advances in areas like civil rights, women's liberation, and environmentalism. The counterculture's critique of mainstream values also paved the way for future movements, such as punk rock and hip-hop, which would continue to challenge societal norms and push the boundaries of artistic expression. The communes and cooperative living experiments that sprang up during the counterculture era also left a lasting impact on American society. Many of these communities, such as the Twin Oaks Commune in Virginia and the Zapatista cooperatives in Mexico, continue to thrive today, serving as models for alternative forms of social organization and sustainable living. As we explore the counterculture's legacy, it becomes clear that its ideas and ideals continue to influence contemporary culture. From the Occupy Wall Street movement to the Black Lives Matter protests, the counterculture's emphasis on social justice and activism remains a powerful force in American society. The movement's critique of mainstream values also continues to shape our culture, from the indie music scene to the artisanal food movement. In the words of counterculture icon Allen Ginsberg, the best way to change the world is to change yourself. As we reflect on the counterculture's legacy, it becomes clear that this message remains as relevant today as it was during the 1960s. The counterculture may have faded as a distinct movement, but its ideas and ideals continue to inspire and shape our world. From its emphasis on individualism and nonconformity to its critique of mainstream values, the counterculture's legacy continues to shape our culture and inform our politics. Join me next as we embark on a new journey through the labyrinth of time, exploring the fascinating tales of history and their continued relevance in our world today. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.